Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Monday night. Thank you very much for taking time to come out and join us wherever you are. Maybe you're huddled in, trying to stay warm, because I know, like, even like southern areas, like it's cold outside. Not like John and Ben Stowe cold, but like, cold for where they're at. So.
Yeah, that's called no common sense cold, is how we all talk about it.
22 below.
Yeah. Well, you mean where John and Ben are?
Yeah, why would you live there? That makes no common sense.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I heard Ben say something last week, and there was conversation going on, and somebody said about being cold, and he's like, I couldn't be where it's warm, and I'm like, I can't be where you're at. There's no way. No way.
Yeah, but if you're there, eventually, your blood gets so thick that you either you can't remember what it was like, type of thing, when it was warm.
Wow.
Or you just freeze and it kills brain cells. I'm not sure. Maybe that's it.
The extreme denial is a big thing for us up here. I'm just going to say it.
Yes, I would believe it. I would believe it in a heartbeat, and I think you would need to. But anyway, I do want to thank you all for taking time, because we've got a show tonight
a whole show.
It is, and it's going to be a good one. Well, it's not, but we're going to pretend that it is, because we want to know. We want to know some of the things that you've done, some of the ways that you've customized your things. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not happy with some things, and I want to do some changes. I'm just in a changing mood. Maybe that's it.
That's it. The Office is going to get 3 different looks this week. He's so excited about that.
Yeah.
But before we get to the topic for tonight's show, I think we need to touch on one of the big news stories from this past week about Spotify. Because tonight's, we were actually going to be talking about Spotify. This was going to be a big topic, because it was kind of a thing I wanted to, in essence, we'll call it celebrate tonight. But instead of us having it where people are taking their music off Spotify and things, DJNTV just got onto Spotify this past week. So
did we take Neil Young's spot?
Yes, exactly. When he left, he's like, "Hey, we got an open spot. Anyone want to come in?" And everyone else is like, "Yeah, we've got too much common sense to jump on this train right now." And we're like, "Woo-hoo, baby, let's go." So anyway, DJNTV shows are being broadcast available on a playlist on Spotify now. So it kind of took the fire out of talking about that. Where was this 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago? Then we could have said and then we could have said, well, we were going to take our stuff off for whatever reason it is. I don't care, but. Yeah. Instead,
I don't even know what's going on with that.
Yeah, there's things going on.
Somebody's mad about somebody, and somebody else is mad about something, and as a result, they're all just gonna
I'm on YouTube Music.
Take my ball and run home.
I'm on YouTube Music. Everything's good there.
Yeah, everything's good there. So yes, the shows are the audio from our shows. The Howie Show, Brian and the Jay, and our show. We put those up on a variety of different podcasts. Apple, they're all on Apple, they're on Spotify, they're on iHeartRadio. So they're all over. And if you guys want to be able to catch up with those and listen to them, go out there. I think the most are on Apple right now. I think they can allow us to have 300 episodes out there. So we have 300 episodes that just continually, as far as new ones come on, old ones get bumped off. So that's another spot to be able to catch things. So
I have 80-some mixes on iTunes.
Excellent.
You can go there and look for me.
I didn't even know you could put mixes on iTunes until just recently.
Yeah.
I don't have iTunes, but I put them there.
Yeah, that's an Apple thing, and that would be against your...
It's not against anything. It's, again, back to common sense. I don't want to be limited. I want to be able to do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, where are we going to start with this? Because you said modifications to gear.
Yeah.
And that can really leave stuff wide open. So where are you thinking?
Well, there's a lot of different areas in which we could talk about. Dan has done some things or dreamed of doing some things with the controller. His table, I think, would be considered almost granted it was a custom build, but there's modifications that he has done with that, and more things he wants to do. Looking at even the controller, you've been working for the last couple of weeks trying to modify the look of your controller, and you have done that with past controllers, and done some things with that. So I think overall, over the history of us as entertainers and as people who are going out and using the tools on a regular basis, we get to a point where we're going to modify things. Rock and roller carts. Some people have put bags on them, sewn bags on them at different times, and then of course rock and roller eventually made bags for them to go over the handles. But they're things that we have done as DJs or as entertainers, to making little changes, little tweaks that have made it easier to use the gear. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about some of those tonight, and we'll be able to. One of the things we're going to look at tonight is MJ's got the Rain One, and he's been working on how to dress that up a little bit, and we're going to debut that a little later. I've got the actual image of what he's going to be using on it's all fired up and ready to go, and we'll show that in here in just a little bit. So
I have a disclaimer.
Imagine that.
Of course you do.
My original disclaimer is not as funny as this one. My disclaimer is whatever John shows you, don't believe it.
Oh goodness!
My first disclaimer was I don't care what anybody tells you. Duct tape and zip ties will make you a better DJ. I just haven't figured out how yet. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we have used both of those, duct tape or stage tape. Yeah, we've used that off and on.
Yeah, there's my disclaimer.
Yeah, Brian, you've done a lot of these things, and you've done it much more in depth than anything we're going to get into tonight. And you've used that as a beautiful topic for a lot of your videos. So,
Brian, the reason is because we only have an hour show.
Oh,
with everything that you've done, we only have an hour show.
He need to go much more. He's got. If you guys aren't from, Brian is in the chat room. For those of you who haven't met Brian, there's a couple of people, new people with us tonight that may not know Brian. Brian's got a YouTube channel out there. He's been with us at DJNTV forever as a good friend, and he is really one of those guys who looks at something, has an idea of how to fix that and make it better, and does it. And he's done some incredible things with some DJ tables and some lighting on how he's used it and sound. Yeah, he's one of those guys that. He's the Bob the Builder of the DJ industry. Can he fix it? Yes.
Brian the Builder.
Yeah, Brian the Builder. So
next year at Expo, that's what everybody has to call it. It's what he's going to have to get on his name tag. Instead of Brian S. Reed, Brian the Builder.
Right, yeah, no, it'll be out there. This is Brian the Builder. So I wanted to kind of start. Let's talk a little bit about Dan. I want to controller cases. Now, you have been on a search for a specific need for a controller case. Kind of talk a little bit about what was out there and what you've been looking for and how that process has gone.
Well, this started back when I got the MC7000. I did not want to have to take a case in with the controller and set up on the table. Okay, now I got to hook my microphones in. Oh, now I've got to hook this. Now I have to hook in my DMX controller, and now I have to hook in this and I didn't want cables everywhere. I didn't want to have to dress it up. I didn't want to have to hide it with a facade just because I had everything stuck out everywhere. So what I devised a while back, and I reached out to some other people to see what they were doing. Michael Anderson out in California was doing something very similar. I was able to get a MC7000 case that had a 2-unit on the front. And when I got it and opened it up, I also noticed that there was a spot to put an extra set of rails halfway into it. So now I had a 2-set in the front. I had a 2-set in the middle that I couldn't really access, but I could use it to hold things and or power conditioner, things of that nature. So I had that option. But I also had an opportunity. What I noticed at least with the case that I had was when I had the slide rack come front, I had a gap that was big enough that I could put a 1-unit piece underneath the railing. So little by little, I ended up devising a way to fit a power conditioner, 2 wireless mics, a patch panel on the front. What else? My DMX Show Express box. I had a Wi-Fi router in there. Like I had everything I needed to basically roll in, plug cables into a couple places as far as like the XLRs and the power, and I was running. I was ready to go. I didn't have to hook everything up every time I walked in. I even put on half-wave antennas on the slide rack. So I drilled holes into the slide rack so that I could put half wave antennas to get that better signal out. So that was kind of my reasoning, is I didn't want to have to carry everything in and hook everything up. I wanted to roll in and be ready to go. And that was the reason for it. Since then, I also realized it was 8,000 pounds. And so, I mean, those cases are heavy enough as it was. And then I put all this extra gear into it. And I just made it too heavy for myself, too unrealistic for me to want to use for a long period of time. I mean, you think at the beginning of the season, all right, we're energized. We get to the end of the season, we're beat. You know, I mean, like, you've been going hard, especially if you try and do 2 in a weekend or 3 in a weekend. You've lost all your energy, and now you've got to try and lift this thing up and onto a table or. Yeah. So the booth became my case, you know, but now it's on wheels. Now I was able to fit a lot of other things into it. And I'll save that for when we're ready to talk about the booth.
So you did some physical modifications where you were drilling and doing, taking things apart, putting it back together. When you were doing that, did you have any concern of, or did the thought come to you about, okay, so someday I may want to have to flip this. I may want to sell this because I'm going to a different controller. Was that a concern for you at all when you were doing these modifications?
No.
Okay.
Because with the exception of the drilling into the slide rack to put the half wave antennas, it really wasn't anything that was undoable. To where I couldn't sell it, say, I'm going to sell it for a used price. Like I was good. I take good care of my controllers, my cases, everything else. So, you know, I could, in fact, having the spot for the half waves and being able to have those BNC connectors up top may have even been a benefit to the right person. Even what I put underneath the slide rack, as far as the wireless controllers, when I put them in there, it was just a matter of unscrewing a few things, and unless you look underneath the slide rack, it was fine. And to be honest with you, for me, I don't look at the flipping of the equipment as much as I do the use of it. Like, I would rather modify something to make it useful for me and to make it better for my events and make it easier on me for however long I may keep it.
Sure.
And then throw it in the trash if I have to, versus, well, I better not do that because I might sell it, 4 or 5 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, the case is still sitting over there on the floor. So
there is that. MJ, you've done some modifications when it comes to controllers, specifically, and it hasn't been any drilling. I don't believe you've never talked about that if you have, but you've changed the aesthetics of them a little bit. Let's just start right at that same question. Has that, as the resale value, trade-in value, whatever, has that been a concern or a thought process when you've gone and you've done those types of things?
I don't know, was I telling Dan or you the story of the Guitar Center thing?
I think you were probably telling me.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I can't remember who I tell anything to. I tell the same story too many times. Those who have been watching lately, I've been trying to design the new Rain and because I try to, the business that we're in, it's a lot of one-upmanship, and it's a lot of show, plus it's a lot of, like I said, I very much look at what I do as being very professional, and I am my brand, and the stuff I use is my brand. So I wanted to make it look better, and the previous one I had stuff on it. If you'd seen the 7000, well, I ended up trading, because I worked through Guitar Center when I was getting the Rain. I ended up trading mine in, and they sell it as a used item. And as I was posting pictures of the new design over on Instagram, somebody goes, "Hey, I was just on Guitar Center's used site, and there's a controller on there with that same logo." So they never took my logo off the thing when I traded it in. So someone's going to get a 7000 with my logo on the skins. It looks just like this, because this is the leftover one. So the skins help with resale, because I can show you one that, like I said, they designed it, especially this heavy. It's not like thin vinyl. This stuff's pretty heavy that they make the skins out of. it peels off really easy. But I can show you the difference of one that had it on there and one didn't have it on there, and you're going to say, this looks practically new, and you're going to say, why did you throw rocks at the other one?
Wow.
At least for me, because I use stuff, and you're taking it in and out places, and multiple setups per night, and different things like that. So there's a lot to it. I believe just putting the skins on there, or whether it be magnets or stickers, because a lot of them you can do both, one or the other, it helps in resale.
So do you obviously left the sticker on the one that you just traded in, but I mean, if you're gonna sell it to a guy down the street, do you take the skins off, or how do you handle that?
I will sell. Okay, here's two examples. One, I will tell them exact same thing I told the store. Do you want me to take them off of there? No, we'll get it. That's what I would tell a person.
Sure.
You want me to take them off of there? Now we'll get it. I actually bought one because I have a backup 7000, and I bought a skin for it so that I can sell it as a much newer looking controller.
Okay.
So it was something I spent $70 on to help me get a little bit more out of it. That was the goal of it. So stuff like that helps in resale. It's the same equivalent to me as someone buying bags for a set of speakers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a good investment.
Well, and MJ and I had this conversation, like within a year of having my 7000, I was noticing that the screws on the top of mine, they gotten moisture from something. It just maybe just use of some sort. And so some of them started to have kind of a rusty type of look to it, maybe even started to rust themselves. Had I put a skin on it from the beginning, I would not have had those issues.
You probably would, because the skins all have holes drilled out where that's at. They're going to be exposed no matter what.
Oh, even for the screws?
Yeah, they're cut. They're all dimpled. They're all poked out. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then never mind.
Yeah, then.
My thing is, if you look at the crossfader on some of the ones I use, it's worn out from me, scratching and stuff, and different faders and different things. And I have a bad habit of, when I DJ, set my hand down by to two channels. So, like, let's say this is the right and left channel. I'll set my hand down there a lot, and the oil from my fingers will actually take the paint off.
Yeah.
On the Rain one, before I decided what to do with it, I took a piece of clear vinyl and put over that cross plate just to protect it until I decide what I want to do. But yeah, it's, to me, like I said, it's like the same thing as buying bags for a speaker. It's just good to keep it long term. Plus, I said, it makes you stand out a little bit. Like I said, people have been seeing my designs and stuff the past couple weeks. If you follow me, I still have more. Apparently, John has one too.
No, I've got the final one.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that, like I said, that I've customized over the years like that. Cases here and there, because you mark those up with something. You're going to have to paint it if you want to sell it. I think for that. Very few people are going to take a case with my logo on there, because you can't just peel it off. Which I have done some modding to cases, like Dan said. I wanted to share this real quick. I used this case. I can do this here. Hold on here. All right, so I found this on eBay. I may actually end up looking at this. For American Audio CD players back in the 90s.
Yeah.
They sat in there like that. There's 3 spots, CD player, mixer, CD player. This was in the 90s, and this thing with the 2 center, like this, weighs about 13 pounds. Well, I kept it. I wanted to sell it for the longest time and never did. And when I was looking at the Rain 1, I'm like, that's about the same size. And now I carry my Rain 1 around in that case. I took some heavy felt and put in the center of it, just to kind of make it easy. But it's now my hard carry case for the Rain 1. And if I do want to have it with the cords plugged in, there's room enough to do that. But compared to the heavy cases now, like Dan talked about putting a bunch of stuff in there, I don't need any of that. I just need a lighter case. And so something like that, I took the 2 slots out, so you do some modding, and I have, like I said, a 13-pound hard case to take with me places. So you kind of make things work. Like I could have went and bought something, but I'm like, I think if I, like I said, bought a little felt to kind of make everything in the inside look, because it's over 20 years old, clean it up a little bit, and I still want to do some cleaning up on the outside and different things. You can refurbish stuff and use it for a bunch of different things sometimes.
If you have enough storage to be able to hang on to things like that.
That's the other thing, yeah. Because, there's a room in my house that should not be stacked with cases, equipment, and stuff. It should be called a dining room, okay? but in the back corner behind everything, kind of hidden along the wall, it just stacks up across there. So, yeah.
Oh, I think I've got.
If I there was a friend of mine who's in his late 20s, lives at home, DJs a lot like I do. Thanksgiving, his mom's like, "Hey, do you think you could move these things out of the living room for Thanksgiving?" He would take the stuff in the house and just leave it there. Yeah, room is important if you have it.
That it would be. So over the years, I've done, when we were doing more of the bar scene and we were doing that on a regular basis, that's where more of the modifications were coming in. And that's when we had the old 19-inch racks. Many times they were the 19-inch SKB, where you had the angled at the top, and then you could put the CD players in the front. And MJ, you mentioned this earlier, putting a microphone, a mount system. That was one of the modifications that we did. That
was the case that I just showed, that I put one in the back corner, drilled in there, and did an attachment in the corner. Will that hurt on resale? Possibly, because it now has 4 holes that it didn't have before. So yeah. You have to make that decision whether you want to do that. Is that going to, like Dan said, am I worried about resale, or is that going to benefit me for the time I need to use it? So yeah.
And that was one of the same situation we had, is that when it came time to resell, the person that was looking at it, he's like, yeah, I don't need a microphone. I don't do that type of work at that time. The other modification that was very common is putting the XLR jacks. You're drilling into the side of the case and putting XLR jacks in there, so you could go right out of that to your amplifier case, which also then you added the XLR jack panel to that, so you could plug in and have everything conveniently accessible. Some of those worked really well, and I ended up, I was thinking about it, I remembered ruining one case. Well, I went and looked and such, and I have both of those cases, which should be gone, but unfortunately they're not. I had ruined 2 cases trying to drill the holes, because at the time I was using a drill bit that walked too much. So you start drilling, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, and it makes this big hole, and then you put the mounts in there. Well, then they're kind of screwed in by a tiny little screw on the corners, and they couldn't get the corners. I made the holes too big, so that you could never get the things to adhere properly or to affix on there properly. So that was obviously a problem. But yes, once they're damaged like that, there's no resale value, because they're not sealed. They don't look pretty. So it was a learning lesson.
Firewood.
Yeah,
Footstool.
And Don mentions not being good at reselling stuff, and I think that's a part maybe with a lot of us. There's way more, I think, of people like myself who do get stuff, you use it and it gets scuffed, and you just aren't very good at selling it, and you end up throwing it away more often than not. Over people like someone like Jeremy Lambie, who it can have one. It's just, an 8-channel mixer that's only got 2 channels left, and he finds that one person who wants a 2-channel mixer. That's just the way he gets lucky that way, and can move things. And for a lot of us, we just can't do that. Okay, let's see. I've got this picture I want to show here, because I think that this is about time for us to so again, if you follow MJ, he's been showing a lot of the different proposals that he's put together for his Rain 1 and how he wants this to look. And a lot of us have been voting, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever one we really liked. And
4 with a little bit of 6, 7 with a little bit of 4.
Exactly, yes. We've been kind of throwing things around. And I sat down and I thought about it today a little bit more. And it's like, this was all just leading to what I've got here right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the controller. This is how MJ will have his controller here, because the important thing with it is he wants to brand not only the unit where you see the Rain, but he wants to brand all the important things he's going to be using it with.
So there's a whole bunch on there that just don't do anything.
They do. They do. Everything makes it excellent. I'm not sure what you're saying.
Everything either plays or stops, right? That's all it does, right?
Plays or
stops. Go along with that, John. To go along with it, because this is one of the things on my list. I'm way ahead of you there.
He's got it, Art.
Nice.
I can't see because it's behind the camera.
Yeah,
there we go.
It's there.
No, that looks good.
There we go. And that's one of the things that in the skin that I'm looking at the skin. I'm going to ask him, there's a new skin, make sure Serato isn't on it anywhere. That was one of mine. Modifications like that. And same thing, what you put the Mega Seg on that, I've already stickered. Before the first gig I did out, all the Serato things are covered with that. So,
I kind of figured that was going to be the case, that you would have that. And so when you're modifying, one of the things that you can do with a controller is replacing the knobs. I've seen as many people do that. Is that something that you have done on yours, MJ?
Where's it at? I just lost it. I had it out the other day. Hold on.
He did with the 7000. I know that for sure.
Yeah, somewhere here is the whole knob thing, because the 7000, they don't fit on the Rain, but I've done knobs many a times. A lot of it's just for aesthetic, but with the Rain one, John, bring that picture up again, unless you modded something on the picture.
I did not mod any of the things.
Okay, and you're going to see why I'm desperately wanting to get
just hang on a sec.
2 knobs changed.
I've got to connect back because that's actually on a remote computer.
I can bring it up on this if we.
Yeah, if you've got it handier, yeah, it's gonna be quicker.
A few seconds here. Hold
oh,
on.
wait a second. I guess I'm there. Share screen. There we go. And share.
See, I like doing different knobs for right side, left side, different volume knobs. But look at the high, mid, low, and gain knobs. They're all identical. Oh, yeah. And I can tell you, first couple of times I used it out, I've reached to do something with the treble, and I've grabbed the gain.
Sure.
So that's one of the first things I want to do is change that out to make those something that makes them stand out. So no, that's not a high, mid, low.
So MJ,
kind of surprised they didn't go for a different color there.
Everyone else I've done, they usually do those in gray.
Because they have they have the blue at the bottom. I'm guessing low pass, high pass filter.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised they didn't do something, even just something subtle like that with like a gray.
I could switch out, and I'm thinking about it. If you look at the stop time knobs on to the right of the platter, they're slightly different color. I can swap those out. But
sure.
To me, it's not a big enough color jump. I want to do something more. But yeah, so like I said, a lot of times it's aesthetics for making yourself happy. Like I said, I work with this thing multiple times a week, and it's just, for me, a lot of it. But yeah, I somewhere I had them here because the orientation, like if you've seen the knobs, there's a flat point. So all the knobs are a D, okay?
Okay.
And the orientation of where that flat spot is different for all the different brands. And it's exact opposite from virtual terrain. I mean, not virtual terrain, from Den terrain. What are you laughing about?
So then the knob would actually literally be like inverted. So instead of pointing at 12 o'clock, it's pointing at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh. And just put it back on there and just remember it's the opposite side. Put some white out where the line really is.
There you go. No,
or just spend $3 or $4 and get new ones.
Just white out's like 50 cents. I mean, I'm trying to save you some money.
Pen. That's one of my tricks. Talking about modding stuff here. If I have something here,
use a Sharpie for the wrong one and put a whiteout pen for the right one, and you're done.
I don't know if I have a knob here anywhere I could show you, but I have a thing because I set up in the dark all the time, and you never know about the USB cords which side is up. So I have a highlighter pen that I always highlight the top. This one's not done because this is something that's new. So anytime I'm setting up, I can just look at the white side, the little mark, as opposed to the other side, and I know which way to plug it in. And that's something I do with electric cords and everything. Up is always white, so I need to plug a USB, power cord, anything. It's marked. So that's a trick right there for doing things. Little whiteout pen. Got to do.
Liquid paper.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I have little tricks. I do a lot of little tricks like that. So yeah, I totally forgot about it. That should have been on my list. What?
Don's talking about his S11 and Rain, doing some things with that and getting it all customized. So when he's doing his mobile things and performing around, they could be all customized.
Here's one that was on the floor. So that's what I have marked. So I know that's the upside. Yeah. And the other side there too.
Nice.
So, little things like that can save you. On the controller also, I have different little white lines of tape to mark where the power button is. And, like, depending on, I can look at it and go, if it's skinny, if it's turned this way opposed to this way. Power, USB, master, left side, booth, left side. So in the dark, I don't have to look behind and see what it is. I know this is this, the wider line, this wide, thick line is the master out, main, left side, because most of the time I'm plugging in only one. Booth out, have that marked. The which there's an A and B USB, have A marked, and where the power switch is, so I don't have to feel around for it. I just go, yeah, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Little things like that save you.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. And they're appreciating your tips there in the room.
I told when he said this, I'm like, I have a couple, and I'm thinking about all these little things that I do, and I'm like, oh yeah, I could probably talk about that. On my list, I have to make your gear better. Stop using Megaseg and stop playing Huey Lewis. But we can't count that, really, can we?
No, because if we do that, our quality of performance will decline. Quality of performance decline.
Can you really call it a performance when you play? Do either of those things?
It's incredible.
I have another good one that you guys probably deal with more than I do, and I want to see your opinion on this. I started doing it back in the days with mixers, because not all controllers have them now, but mixers almost always had talk over switches, like physical switches, to duck the music and talk. And I had the worst habit of setting up at a club and could not figure why I can't get much volume out of my setup. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then partway, like 15, 20 minutes later, I'm like, oh, that ducking knob is switched. So I got to the point of taping down to one side, or even one of them, I removed the knob completely. So if you wanted to do it, you had to stick like a pen down in the hole and click it like you're shifting gears. That's something there. That, and I have friends that tape down the crossfader because I have a friend that bumps it with his belly, he says.
Yep.
So little things like that. Have you guys, with mic stuff, have you done any kind of modifications to the knobs of stuff you do for reasons like that?
We had to tape, literally tape the ducking to keep them from pushing it, because there was one of the nights in the system we had in the bar, and I got a call before cell phones, so they went to the bar phone to call the venue that I was at, and it's like, DJ, there's a phone call for you. It's like, what? I'm doing a wedding at some VFW. I can't get any volume out of the system. It's just really quiet. Okay, the music is quiet. Yep, I've got it all the way up, but it's really not that loud. But my microphone's really loud. Oh, well, thank you for that piece of information, because there's a little button over there, and sure enough, then pull the volumes down, push the button, then bring the volumes back up and see if
turn the volume down first.
and it must have worked, because that's what it was. So at that time, I ended up cutting a little piece of cardboard that was put that on there, and then just basically do some black duct tape, and just made it so that it couldn't be accidentally pushed. Mentioning the belly idea, I've got a friend who, in order to keep from hitting the crossfader, 3D printed a little bracket that basically to lock it into
I've seen those.
Place.
I might have seen some of them doing that.
And that worked very well for their side. For my side with my controller, I wanted to have some little kind of a headphone bracket that we'd slip down into the little latch system, because there's the lid has the latch that comes down and catches on the bottom. So you've got this little gap that's about 1/8 of an inch where you can actually slide something into. So we had a little piece that comes down in, and it has a wing on it so that the headphones can go on that. Because when I use my Z table, you have to hang the headphones. There's nowhere to put them on a table of some sort, because those Z tables are the exact same size as my controller case.
I did a solution with that. Again, all these little modifications, and I don't know if you want to go there yet or not, because Dan was talking about booth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to share this very well or not. This is the back side of the booth that I recently built. I don't know if you want to call it a booth or not. Table, whatever. But that is a headphone hanger that I bought down here in the left-hand corner. Same sort of thing. Clips on the table. It rotates all the way around 360, so you can have that little arm anywhere you want to put the headphones. But this is when I'm DJing on the floor at one of the casinos, And this is my setup, my whole thing. If I can find that, hold on here. That's from the front with my little TV. That's another thing I was working on. I know I have something there. That's the crowd. People partying. More people partying. That's afterwards. That girl was named Whitney. I never met somebody named Whitney before. But I have a video here somewhere from the side. I'll have to look it up later. But that's, again, modifying stuff. I wanted something really small to be taken in places. 'Cause I do a couple, what do you call it? Like outdoor cafe kind of things in the summertime. And I kind of wanted to design something for myself. So I took one of the Roland Z piano stands and made a table with it. And I have a little place there where I can put all the cords that everything plugs in is on like a snake. All right, so I pull it out of the box, up onto the table. Everything plugs in right. When I'm done, off the table, down into the box, and everything is contained in that when I go places. So I know Dan did a lot of little modifications with his like that. That's why I said I wasn't sure if we want to talk about that yet or not. But the headphone thing reminded me of that. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's where I want to head next. Is we kind of started talking about Dan's desire to try to build the controller case with the most weight possible, and he succeeded. But then he decided he wanted to try to make the biggest portable table system that would take 3 men and a boy to push up a ramp, and I think he succeeded there too. So let's talk about your traveling booth there, Dan.
So I will say that I purposely also tried to make it as light as possible. So really, it only takes myself to get it in to the trailer usually.
After he's eaten his can of spinach.
Yes. Well, sometimes I need to. So one of the things that kind of irked me also when I was going into a venue was having to make multiple trips. When I would have my case, I would have my Evolve 50s, and I would have my controller. I would just have all these pieces that I was bringing in, and so I figured, what, if I'm going to do a booth, if I'm going to do this piece to make it cleaner than dealing with a table, because I was just hating the look. I wanted something that was going to be able to also carry the gear. So when I was speccing out what I was going to put in there, I made sure that it was wide enough that it would carry the bases for the Evolve 50s in the bottom, and the tops. I created a shelf in the middle that would fit them laying down. So I was able to then, not only am I now carrying everything in, or not only am I having a thing to perform behind, it also now serves as my cart for carrying things in and out. The only thing that I don't feel really great about putting my 4-bar tri up on top. I've got a protector for my controller, but I still don't feel wild about putting it up on top sometimes. So that's usually, I go back and I carry it in a second time. But I also made this functional, and to the point that I've seen a lot of people who install their mics into the rack, and they install, extra things that they might do to it. I wanted to make sure that if I decide that I'm going to be a place where the booth isn't going to work, I'm up on a stage, I'm whatever. My rack actually comes out. So the piece that holds my dual microphones, it has my digital mixer, it has my patch panel, it's got my Furman conditioner, it's got all that stuff. All I have to do is basically unhook the XLRs, unhook the power, and I can take that out and go with it wherever I need to. So it's been a very interesting process, kind of going through it. Modification, I wish I would have known to make it probably an extra 2 inches shorter. I still could have fit the speakers in and carried them without and giving me a little bit more clearance through doors. I made sure it was handicap accessible, so I wasn't, I was going to be able to get through most doors, but I don't have a whole lot of clearance there. So if I had just an inch or two less, I think it would have been better. But those are the things you'll figure out later. Somebody said, "Where did I get my booth?" I build it.
Actually, I think that was talking MJ's.
Oh, okay.
But you have to read the comment about Dan's there, John.
Dan, down a little farther there. Dan's the world's first DJ booth with the basement. Yes, it wasn't the basement; it was the enclosed swimming pool that made it weird. I mean, just gonna say it.
I thought it was the sauna.
Maybe it was. It was. Again, I'm up here. I don't know what sauna is. I'm in Minnesota, so we don't know what
they have saunas. You just don't know what it is.
I just don't know what they are.
It's actually a temp at 50 degrees. So I will say I did work to make it light enough. So that was one concern I had and if you decide that you're going to go the direction of building a booth, whether it's something like mine or whether it's just DJ furniture in general, think about the movement aspect of it. How are you moving in? How are you moving it out? Yes, you might have an assistant, but what happens if the assistant can't make it that day? Now you're doing it by yourself. Are you going to be able to do this on your own? So I made mine out of aluminum. I had aluminum tubing that I didn't make it, I should say. I hired somebody to make it for me. And that actually was the biggest cost of the whole thing was having that framing built.
Sure.
But as a result, before I put anything on it, I could take that and lift it. I could grab one end and the other end and just lift it straight up. And it was light enough to do that. So, that was the one piece. And, you do also have to think about, I had to think about how do I put in my trailer. That was a modification. I then had to make a modification to my trailer because there's a gap in my trailer between the ramp door and the inside that my casters got in and stuck a couple times. And I went, what do I do? So that was one thing. I also had a new easy rack I had to install so that it would be able to be strapped into the trailer and not go for a ride like it did twice. So little things like that, you just don't think about. But I would also say one of the things that I've been able to do, some modifications that I made, I carry in with me a set of carpets so that I don't have to gaff tape things down. That's one of the things that I was kind of a pain. I got that idea from Brian Harris in Ohio, where I put stair runners. So they're nice, clean. They're a little bit thicker than what you'd have for, say, gaff tape, but they cover up the cables really nicely. I also stick, and I wish I had it with me, but like those Velcro straps, I feed it through and I leave mine attached to the cord. And I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do initially, because for the longest time, I would always wrap them and then stick the Velcro on it afterwards. And I stick it on it now so that it's easily done. It's right there, ready to go, and it's always at the cord. And then I use it to attach it to the poles when I'm, if I'm running a power cord or I'm running a DMX cable up to something. So I'm afraid John's laughing so much.
Yeah, they're
he's so strong. A Kia was told. Love it, Howie. Oh my goodness. Yeah, actually my booth does double up as my trailer now. That's my name.
I told you need to put a hitch on that thing when you made it. I'm like, you put a hitch on it. No, I don't need it. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's getting pretty large.
I have some other pictures I want to share real quick of mine, so if anybody has any questions. Again, this is still in the process of being built. I'm still tweaking things. So real quick here, I'll zip through them, I promise, really fast. All right, so this is that little thing underneath that I run all the cords through and hide the cords when I travel. This has been made bigger, so I have a bigger one there now, okay? So basically, all the stuff, that's the TV. I have an arm coming out from it that attaches to the TV there. The TV goes separate. That's what again, all of this is even cleaned up more because that box is bigger. The top is two 12 by 36 inch shelves with a piano hinge in the center. So when I'm transporting it, it just folds in half and you set it on top. Let me get through some here. That's the top. Because I just wanted something comfortable that I could work on that had some weight and sturdiness. That's what it looks like from the side with the TV. I just threw a monitor underneath of it that night, but you can do whatever you want to do. But that's kind of what I wanted, something small and easy, like for the little cafes that I do, something I can work on. That's what it looks like from the front. I think it looks pretty good from the front. And Dan talked about transporting it, and I will show you the transport. I had to scroll way down here. Okay, here we go. And is that going to work or not? It's all blurry. There we go. So this is the whole thing transported with the TV and the monitor and everything. Controller, TV. You can see the top is right there in that middle. That's the rolling thing. That's how far it folds up. All of that. So that's that simple and small, and that's kind of what I wanted. No, it's not for weddings and stuff like that. But like I said, for the stuff I do, I like it a lot. It's just having something solid and small and quick, but that's professional. Doesn't look like a fold-out table. It looks, kind of its own thing. So,
Excellent.
For those of you that are wanting to see I saw a couple things in the chat. I don't know if they were talking about mine or
Yeah,
yours.
if you got a
necessarily, where
picture
said
of
about
it,
show it. That can't happen because my computer hates me. While MJ was showing his thing, I decided, let me go ahead and try and open the folder that it's in, and my Zoom went unstable. I have an issue with my personal computer where if I try and do stuff, the Wi-Fi just decides it doesn't want to work. So, yeah.
Is it on your Facebook page, Dan?
It's on my Instagram.
Hold on here. Give me 10 seconds here. We're friends on Instagram, aren't we?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We are, but I don't know if you're on my business one.
Dan's pretty particular.
What would it be? DC?
Entertainment, PA.
Yeah, right there. Okay. And wait a second. It's opening up. Trying to find a picture of it. How far down is it? People, table, people, monogram, stuff on a shelf. It's not an elf though. There's no elf on a shelf.
No elf on a shelf. No, that's definitely for sure.
I'm just gonna share here, and you can tell me where it's at compared to this.
Actually, wait a minute. I probably can bring it up through my Instagram because I'm not opening another folder.
Oh,
so
okay. This is Dan's Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. He is DC Entertainment PA. Follow him on there. I'm DJ Michael Joseph, and I am MJIG as an Instagram. I am MJIG. So go ahead, Dan.
All right. So
his is slick looking. I really do like it. It's to me, it's anytime you can do anything other than that giant facade that hides everything, that's a good thing.
Oh, so there you go. That's a picture from the front. You can see I put a nice 58 inch screen on the front, so that way it would I can use it for monogram and stuff like that, and the piece. I'm trying to see if I know I don't have any pictures on my Instagram of the backside, because I just wouldn't have put that up there. So
not showing behind the scenes.
Well, I did on some of my other stuff, but I didn't. So yeah,
I'm messing with you.
Just like the Wizard of Oz.
DM me through Instagram, and I'll make sure that I share those pictures if you're curious.
Can we see the scuff marks from when it got away in your trailer and kind of decided to ride on its own?
The trim falling off.
Actually, in that, let's see, when was that one? That was October. No, that was cleaned up by that point. Let's see.
Yeah, it was early on. I think it was your first or second outing with it.
Yeah, it was really quick after.
First couple outings, it actually went through the ringer.
There's a lot of learning process, and like that's the other thing. Tonight's about modding stuff. If you want to do stuff, give it a try, because you might not succeed the first time, but the first time might give you the idea how to do it perfect the next time. It's the little things that if you are able to try, you have the room just to tear something down, to put it back together, the ability, the tools, a friend help, anything like that. To me, it's worth it. You know, I've been working on this booth since the beginning of December. And that's 2 full months, and I still, the other night, I'm tweaking things on it, and I'm still trying to decide what to do with it. But by summertime, when I'm doing those little outdoor cafes, it's going to be real quick to set up, tear down, not take up much room, be kind of fresh, exciting, that sort of thing. That's my goal. Yeah, and that quickness and speed, I think, is going to be so. And so like attractive. I said, a lot of those venues, I'm not allowed to take up a lot of space. So yeah. And I don't want to be just on a folding table. I want to be unique. I want that to be part of my brand. So yeah.
And I think some of the modifications that we do, whether you're talking about something like MJ's thing or mine or even the stuff that John did, I mean, there's two reasons really when it comes down to it as far as why you want to make modifications. One is, to as MJ said, to set yourself apart, to make yourself look different, to do something that other people, at least in your market, are not doing. That was the purpose of mine with the furniture. I wanted something different. I was tired of the look that I had, and I was tired of just setting up a facade, if I wanted to, and then I was tired of it, with not having the facade, like just the look and everything else. But then there's also the other side where the modifications come down to just making your job easier. One of the things that I'm thinking about doing is, and potentially save you money, is to create a microphone box, because there's still the ability to do a wired mic on my 7000. So
is that just Dan or all of us?
I think Dan. He was doing so.
Back. Is it? There?
No?
Bueller? How are we doing out on chat line?
We're showing green. We're showing green on the signal going out.
So while he's frozen, is he back? I see a little eye movement.
I'm back. It's me. It was me.
Okay.
Pretty sure it was me. I don't know where you lost me.
I have a little quick one here. This is one that I thought of earlier tonight. And this isn't necessarily a modification, but it helps you with things. So I have two. One are these little foam pads that normally one side is sticky, the other's not. And I stuck two of them back to back. And this is if you ever set up equipment on a table that's real slidey, put these underneath the feet of it, and it will lock it in place. And they don't take up any room to take with you. They don't look bad if they're setting under the feet of something. They're really simple to keep stuff from sliding around. And the other one is for if you ever have to set up a controller on a table and you want to have the feet of your computer stand underneath, but it won't quite go. I have the same thing of these heavy rubber things that I carry with me, so I can put those in the back. It doesn't raise it up so much that it becomes uncomfortable to DJ, but it will raise it up just enough to where I can get the feet from the computer stand underneath of there if I'm in the kind of space where I need to have the feet underneath.
Sure.
So little things like that are always in the bag. That's all the room it takes. Do these things for yourself, like Dan said. It will make, because it's your job. You're just going to make your job. Little things matter. That's why I don't have Megaseg anywhere.
I don't know why. I just don't know.
I gotta go to the bathroom now.
So coming up next, I just put the link into the chat room there, DJNTV.com/chill. You guys can bounce out there. Howie will be doing their Monday night hanging out with Howie time frame. You can come in there and have some fun. They're going to chat for about 20 minutes and do a recording, the weekly recording, and then having a good time of hallway talk after that. Tomorrow night we'll be running the last week's Tuesday night show, which is Brian, Jay, and Howie. We're chatting with Jimmy DePalma was down there, and they were talking a lot of that New York music scene and such, and that will be going at 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night. Then at 10 o'clock Eastern will be the weekly music show with Jay, Brian, and Howie, and they talk... some weeks get really in depth in that music world there and have some fun with that. So then that happens in a chill room at DJNTV.com/chill. And again, that's 10 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night. So that's what we got going on. One slight program change, you guys. If you do go to the chill room, you've seen the roll of the February 21st as our next DJNTV training, because we usually go the third Monday of the month. For February, we're moving it to February 15th. So that'll be on a Tuesday night, and we're going to be talking about making playlists and making a crate with some songs and such that you could be using for this summer. And we've got different people talking about different music genres and things for the night. So that'll be on Tuesday night, the 15th. That'll be going from 8 until 10 o'clock Eastern, and then at 10 o'clock Eastern, then Jay and Brian are going to be going in, actually in the chill room, playing some music and talking about some kind of forgotten songs that could be making your summer playlist. So that'll be all going on February 15th that evening. So, okay, I think that's it for tonight.
All right. Well, hopefully you saw something tonight that was a modification that you want to take and make your life easier, or you learned from our mistakes. Either way, hopefully you enjoyed tonight and you're going to run with it and have some good times. Have yourself a good rest of your night. We'll see you next week.
Bye.